Eyes to see, that's what I long for. Your eyes, they see my every need.
Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. The name is Joie Bénie. So on today's conversation, we're gonna talk finding the one. I'm only dating, okay? I'm not actually married, but I do believe I have found the one. And there's so much that I've definitely learned over the years, which I'm hoping that I'm sharing with younger people. I'm just hoping that I'll be passing down information to my younger sisters out there, because these social media trends ain't it, honey. So when I speak of social media trends, the biggest social media trend, I think this may have been like a year or two ago, I'm not sure. I don't think it's popular right now, I don't know, but the biggest social media trend that really just had me seeking for more and more answers was God told me who my husband was. Now listen, I am not saying that God did not tell all of these specific people. I'm just saying that it became a trend, and it's a bit questionable when something does become a trend, hey. But yeah, so I'm not saying that God didn't tell them, because I'm not there. I don't know their relationship with God, and I do believe that God can tell you who your husband is. But when you focus on a particular way that something looks, obviously not to everybody, but to me as a young teenager, I was like, well, okay, I guess that will be my sign. That is how I'm going to know. I'm gonna need to hear a voice that says, this is your husband. Stop searching, stop looking. We found him. And it didn't particularly work that way. So I'm just gonna share, I guess, my own tips on dating intentionally, and yeah, finding the one. Let's go. If God communicates something to you that is very personal and sentimental to you, there is a right time and the right space to share information like that. It could be very damaging to share some sort of information just because not everybody's there to support you, or you have to be 100% sure in what you are saying, because what you said, once you've said it, it will be challenged. So that's the first thing I want to say. Like, just be wise about what you are saying out in the open, and claiming that it is God that has given you that word. My biggest pet peeve-ish, sort of kinda, was, you know, people saying, like, I would genuinely ask for advice from people in finding who the one is, like, how do you know, type of thing. And the first thing that people always say is, oh, when you know, you know. I don't believe that when you know, you know, just because with every decision making, there's always a mental processing that happens. So there was a mental processing that did happen that led you to that point. It wasn't just, I know because I know. I understand being so sure in your relationship and its progress that you're like, I just know, completely get that. But to somebody that is seeking advice, they're gonna get something a lot more tangible than when you know, you know. I had a conversation with someone on Instagram, I think it was, and we were talking about how, like, you know, people talk about finding peace in your soul, in pertaining to knowing that that person is for you. And to be honest, there's not always peace in relationships, so it's not a very tangible thing to to like hold on to and grab. What does peace truly mean to you? And if you're gonna hold on to peace as knowing that this person is for me because I just have this peace, just be careful in knowing that that peace sensation or feeling is not always going to be there, but I guess beneath the surface, underneath, there is that everlasting peace in God, in a really good firm foundation, not like this peace that is built on sand and flimsy feelings. When it comes to seeking relationship advice, whether it is finding the one or just other type of dating tips and advice, I would say do not follow the trends that are out there, because trends are only there to trap you, and they really limit you in how you're supposed to see the world. Just because there's never a one way for things, you know. Even this trend that I'm talking about, it's never that one way, you know. So just watch out for the trends. Don't believe in every trend, don't follow every trend. Do what you need to do to make sure that it is not the trend that is ruling your life. I know that I think I started really idealizing marriage and relationships. I think the first tip about dating for me personally that I've learned is being intentional. Like, that is the biggest biggest thing. You've got to be intentional in all that you do in dating. Number one, be intentional about the kind of the kind of people that you are surrounding yourself with, the kind of man or women that you are, the kind of attention that you're allowing into your space. Definitely be intentional about that. Be intentional about attaining wisdom for yourself, and be intentional about knowing yourself and fully coming into yourself and understanding yourself. Because what I've noticed is really learning, finding that someone is for you really takes you through a journey of understanding who you are yourself first. I do not particularly believe that you have to have reached a certain point in life to make it to the next stage, which could be marriage, might be marriage for you. I'm not saying that you have to have reached this perfect standard. There's preparation that needs to happen, but you'll never be fully ready for it because you've never experienced it. I want to say that we may have over-spiritualized, you know, finding the one. I want to say that we have, but I also really think it's a very important decision to make. Second to making the decision to follow Jesus for the rest of your life is also making the decision to be with someone for the rest of your life. God created this thing, so you do have to go back to the maker when you do finally meet someone and make a decision and attain that wisdom from God himself. So what I'm saying is, when it comes to finding the one or being in relationships and like making a decision, there is a decision that you have to make yourself, you know. There is, because even if God says something, are you going to follow it? We don't know, you know. So he can tell you something and you might not follow it, but at the end of the day, I just want to say that you still have to make a decision yourself. You still have to rely on the wisdom that God has given you yourself, you know, with things in life. I feel like in the Christian world, we've, you know, over spiritualized. I don't know if that's the right word to say, but I do think that we focus so much on like seeking God for answers that we forget that, or we leave out the part where the human has to still make a decision. Yes, the decision including Jesus, including his wisdom and what he has placed within you, yes. It still has to be a wise, thought out decision, but you know, we still have choice. God has still given us choice in life, so don't forget that God has still given you choice. I've met people before who have said, you know, they could have married someone, somebody in their past, you know, that they've met, but they chose not to. So I guess at the end of the day, it depends on the decisions. That definitely know that you are responsible for the decisions that you make. So from all that I've learned in dating and relationships, I want to leave you 3 things, honestly, that you should probably consider when making that final decision. Yes, there's a lot that you might have to use your own wisdom for and in your own prayer time with Jesus. For my own advice, I would just say, you know, make sure that the two of you are people who are willing to honor God in your relationship, that you're willing to show that kind of love that Jesus showed us through your relationship, that you're willing to do marriage, relationships, dating God's way, and that you were both willing to put in the work to understand each other and I guess the purpose or the calling that God has given the two of you individually, and I guess together as well as a couple. I say this because I do think you should really invest in each other's callings and purposes, because you are supposed to help each other push that. Just focus on building that relationship with God, building that relationship and that intimacy with him, and to a point where you know when he's speaking to you and you understand that this is God speaking to you, and you can hold on to that and stand firm in that. Definitely focus on that and focus on attaining wisdom. If there's anything in life that is important, it is wisdom. Wisdom from God himself is so important in every decision making in life. So thank you guys for tuning in. I do hope this was fruitful in some kind of way. Catch you next week. Bye.
Eyes to see, that's what I asked for.